Welcome back, Keepers of the Flame. Okay, so real quick, there's a method to my madness. So why am I like all of a sudden getting back to nature? Why am I telling you constantly being in your body? Because these major outer planet transitions are going to have a lot of impact on us, and we need to keep our footing. Because the ones that are not doing the work, the ones that are not focusing on like integration right now, are going to have a really they're going to have a difficult time, a difficult time with this momentum that's going to be coming our way. So with Saturn going into Pluto, or Pluto, yeah, no, Saturn, or Pluto and Saturn moving into different signs. Pluto is moving into Aquarius, and Saturn is moving into Aquarius as well. I'm pretty sure. Holy Christ. I need to listen to like just one thing at a time, because I listen to like several in like one day and then I forget. So Pluto, I know for sure, is going into Aquarius. So that's going to create a massive amount of movement. So Pluto, death and rebirth, and a lot of other things. So Pluto, let's break down death and rebirth. Everybody says these beautiful, wonderful things and then doesn't break them down on a molecular, solidified, like rubber meeting the road level. So death and rebirth, leaving and entering the body, the physical, leaving and entering and leaving and entering and leaving. That is Lilith back there, by the way. Sweet love. Okay, so when we're leaving and entering and leaving, that process is gonna. Okay. So much for light in there. I was like, let's do a nice video about being present in the body, and here we go. So, but there's a solution to every problem, right? So getting to the point where you accept the fact that no longer the escapage is going to be serving you. You're going to have a really difficult time escaping your body, which is what we have been doing for a very, 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 very long time, is working on escaping the pain instead of sitting with it. We can talk about how that's going to play out in a different video. So we're doing the work, we're sitting with it, we're getting into nature, we're integrating those patterns within ourselves that are toxic, that take away from our own life force energy, thus taking away from everyone else's. Whenever something is demonized on the outside, it just means we haven't sat with it within ourselves. So whatever we're recognizing on the inside is coming to a closing, or coming to a fruition, life and death on the outside, inside, outside, death and rebirth. It's that connect with our planetary system to the ethos. So this is happening on a multi-dimensional level, and that's another thing that we're going to be able to take advantage of when it comes to this Pluto moving into Aquarius. Is there's going to be a huge shift in multi-dimensions. Technology and things like that is going to skyrocket. And I can't even guess what kind of, I'm not that great at like technological things anyway, but I do appreciate them, definitely. I mean, it comes with good and bad. Everything comes with good and bad. And that's mainly to do with people we don't instruct anybody how to do the inner work and how to get through things. And so when we come to an expectation that everybody is supposed to be how we are in the world, or see things how we see things in the world, and then we try to force that on them, it's not very polite. I mean, even when it comes down to like the whoever opened the freaking Patreon in my name without me being the beneficiary, they don't understand that like they are gifted inherently, that they can go out and make money in different ways. We've robbed them of that opportunity, that mental capacity to grow and evolve into someone who serves the community rather than just seeks to siphon off of it. Because, and the other thing too is like the hierarchy, that's what it does as well. That's like, who decided who owns what land? How did that come to be? Who decided somebody has a dibby on the water? Who decided somebody's going to charge an abundance for coal, which is already in the earth? Who decided that? Who put that into play? Those things are going to change too. So we're sitting with ourselves, doing the inner work and understanding that life is going to drastically be different, and how we keep our wits about ourselves is going to dictate how we move through this as a whole. Because this is a collective, all the 3 outer planets are collectively energetically entwined. They're not so much as personal planets as like collective, psychological, spiritual, metaphysical planets. Because if you like, most of the time you can't see the 3 outer planets. I think there's some instances where if you're at the right time, at the right place, you can kind of see one of the outer planets. But to get, what's really fun to do with that too is like go out, you can even do it during the day, go out and take a sky map and you can see where all the constellations and planets are. It's really cool. That's another way to kind of connect with those beings and whatnot, is recognizing the patterns that they move through the sky throughout the year. So like once a week, maybe go outside with a sky map and be like, hey, where's this sign? Where's that? Whatchamacallit? And you can, even though you can go down, you can look all over. So that's a fun thing to do, to get back into the physical connection, to see the physical reality that we're talking about when we're talking planets and systems and conjunctions and oppositions and signage and whatever else gets put into the physical, so we can start interweaving that web. Instead of making it some sort of fantasy that's online, we can make it into our physical reality if we start looking at it. So again, getting back into our body, getting back into reality, getting back into the modality of sifting through our life in a productive way, so that we can make reality better, not just for ourselves, but for those who we come in contact with. The people that either come through at the grocery store line, or the people that we meet through gatherings in the community, neighbors that we have around us, or people on the internet, whatever it is that comes into our reality for a purpose and a function, we honor that and see it for what it is and what kind of value it holds in our lives. And I think that's going to be a huge part of getting into the reality of things, is that we've gotten so far disconnected from ourselves. And then when we get disconnected from ourselves, we disconnect from nature, because as someone pointed out yesterday, we are nature. We are made up of nature, and when we connect to it, we connect to ourselves, and thus connecting to the divine, because we are made up of star stuff as well. So it's all interconnected. So that vast web is going to come down to a pinpoint, and the pinpoint is under your control entirely. How your reality operates is how you are going to continue to see the world, to be in the world, to operate in the world. Now, this isn't some sort of freakish advertisement to put on rose-colored glasses. That's not a good idea. You need to see the reality of the situation. Otherwise, you're not going to assess anything correctly. You're going to come from a place of complete and total ignorance, and then you're going to try to fix a problem when you don't know the roots of the problem, when you don't see the actual problem. You're going to look at the problem and not see it as a problem. You're going to see it in a different light that wasn't reality. When things have consequences, real dire consequences, and you put the rose-colored glasses on and say, well, this is just a whatchamacallit, yada, yada, yada. Okay, that might not be under your control totally, but how you see it and how you change your frequency, energy, vibration so that it is not a match to you is really important. And if you want to change that and alchemize that, you need to look at it with honest eyes. You need to look at how it's playing out in your reality, how you feel about it, how you think about it, how it is impacting the world that your children and everybody else's children are going to grow up in. And again, if you don't like children, look at that. Why? It's very important. Why do you think science right now is going through and like heave-hoing on creating infants and growing them in plastic baggies? Yeah, look at that. There's nothing wrong with you. You just need to sit with it. Again, demonizing anything isn't going to help you. So looking at it with honest eyes and having compassion for yourself and anybody else. So anyone who sees children as a malevolence, whatever, annoyance, hasn't dealt with their inner child and hasn't looked at what's coming in the future, which could be very well an energetic pattern in and of itself, but sit with it. Ask it what's going on, okay? So once you learn to do that, you can learn to start trusting yourself. You can start trusting yourself with thoughts, feelings, and opinions. If something about music irritates you, sit with it. Why is that? How do you want to change it? How do you want to proceed? How do you want to go through and alchemize something so that you can be okay with something that's inherently a part of life? Like, hating music isn't going to shut down the music industry tomorrow. Hating children isn't going to stop births tomorrow. What was the other one? Animals. Hating animals isn't going to stop those animals from existing tomorrow. But boy, oh boy, will they bring pestilence if you start demonizing them. So, snakes, spiders, bats, whatever the hell it is. Because we're demonizing bats and then we complain about the insects that pester us. The ones that come to actually suck our blood are the things that they eat. And we keep demonizing bats. I'm like, oh my God. Nobody gets it. Nobody wants to sit with it and understand it on a basic level. If we got rid of snakes, we'd have rodents everywhere. We got rid of spiders, we've had some sort of freakish fly pestilation like nobody's business, which we are starting to see a little bit because just take the thing outside and set it free. Okay. It's only going to hurt you if you let it. And do not look up the stats on spiders. They are more of a service than you will ever understand. And don't, if you're terrified of spiders, do not look up the stats on spiders. But sit with it. Ask it why you don't resonate with it, why you don't like it, why you can't appreciate it, what you're scared of. I used to be scared of spiders. I used to be the person who saw a spider and then started throwing shoes at it from like 25 feet away. I get it. I'm not ignorant to it. But you need to sit with it and say, hey, how can we be better equipped in this sort of situation? Okay. So, in the body. So, understanding that everything is connected to us directly because we're part of nature. So when we're demonizing something on the outside of us, we need to sit with it on the inside of us. How does it make us feel in our body? What are the sensations that it comes with? How do we heal that? How do we come to terms with it? Can we see it in a different perspective so it does not irritate us and upset us anymore? There's a giant thing happening right now where everybody not everybody, a very small group of people is wreaking havoc. And the reason why that is because they won't sit with it. They won't sit with it and understand it. And I think the reason they're having such a visceral reaction to it is because I think they might be realizing that this is a time-orientated process that they're going through. And it needs to be looked at and assessed with logical, meaningful, and an operational pattern that's actually going to get them somewhere rather than where it just got them. So if we can sit with our discomfort, sit with our annoyance, and sit with whatever it is before we do something that might completely sabotage our movement or our cause or our life force, and whatever the heck you want to call it, and go back to the drawing board and be like, wait, why am I actually pissed off here? What am I needing to do about this? How can I alchemize this feeling, sensation, outrage into something that actually serves my movement, serves my community, serves it as a whole? How can I do that? How can I make this better? How can I use this as fuel rather than spewing it back out as vitriol, hatred? How can I use this as fuel? How can I make my community better? How can I heal this in a meaningful way? So that way, my community is that much stronger and more stabilized in existing in the world. I think I got that out correctly. And that happens on a very real level when we get in our bodies. That is when somebody, again, talks you out of your feelings and talks you out of your mentality and asks you to only be in feelings and not think for yourself. That's a big red fucking flag. That's a big no-no. And when they demonize you for thinking for yourself, ooh, child. Look out. That either that movement has been completely hijacked by the opposition or they have just completely turned on themselves. In which case you need to back away slowly and just let them tear themselves to shreds. Okay? And when somebody's asking you to only be in your head, we need to look at a little bit further why Stoicism was actually created. I don't think we understand that quite yet. Don't think we've got our grasp on that. Yes, astrology was being created, and astrology's got some tough pills in it, but that's because the mentality at the time, the frequency, energy, vibration was very into demonizing things. I don't think that was because of astrology, though. I think it had to do with other things that were happening at that time. Might want to look into that. So, again, getting completely out of head or completely out of heart, not a good operation to take forward into the world. So keep your head, keep your heart in every situation. Yeah, I know, Pisces. You're going to be really upset about that because you just want to write all the romantic poems for your beloved and whatever else. Well, take your head with you, okay? Aquarians, I know. Feelings are disgusting. Feelings are gross. Feelings are weak. Feelings make me stupid. But if you sit with those feelings on an intellectual basis and ask yourself, why does this show up for me? Why is this happening? Why do I feel this sensation in my body? You'll come to a better, deeper understanding of it. And you'll tap into that thing called intuition. And it's freaking magic. Right, Lily? I don't even get a twitch? All right. See? She agrees. So, understanding that this movement with Pluto into Aquarius is going to be a very physical thing because Pluto is a Scorpio ruler which is very physical. Also sexual. Yep, there's going to be one of those revolutions. Which is why I really freaking wish that community that just lost their shit would get their shit together, because that would be an awesome movement to have. That'd be freaking incredible. Some of the coolest people on the planet who have run emotional gamuts that most of us can't even fathom would be of utmost value at this point in time. So please, please, please rein it back in and get some actual laws changed when it comes to being able to do same-sex anything in the majority of the states. Get that done. Do that. Focus on that. Who cares about a freaking writer? Okay, I'm not a huge Harry Potter fairy. I'm not. I'm not into it. I saw the first movie and I'm like, this, something ain't right here. And I just poo-pooed it. I didn't really poo-poo it. I just let it go. I was like, cool. My children love it. I'm not against it. It's just, you just see things. You just see things. And you're like, not me. So, and maybe that's it. Maybe the shock just wore off, and I'm like, you couldn't see this from the, okay. Maybe that's just me. I'm weird like that, and I'm okay with it. Anyway, so I saw it coming. I had accepted it almost a decade ago. And why? Why are we wasting our precious resources? Why? You guys could do a lot of good with that energy in a different area. If you know what I mean? Like, hee-ho, kids. Like, rein it back in and direct that puppy somewhere where you can actually make change. Legit. I had a little combo with a few of my beloved friends. They're like, oh, we're confused. Like, we get she's weird, but we need, real physical change. We need a real physical change. We don't need to be screaming at somebody on the internet. Misdirected energy, boy. That's such a waste. Yeah, you can be pissed off, but don't be a soldier online. Get some lawyers involved and be like, all right, well, we're going to show her what's up. Do that. Become a force to be reckoned with. Right now, you're just taking out the people that would be of the utmost support to you, which is confusing as fuck. Okay, anyway. It's a good thing I'm not in charge of anything. Okay, so when we can get into our bodies, since when we are getting hot under the collar, and ask us why it's happening, right? On the regular, not just okay, this is really pissing me off right now, I'm going to shut down. Yeah, that's going to happen at first. That's going to be your go-to in the beginning. But after a while, that alchemization process is that even a word? I don't even care. That process of alchemy happening within your body, where you can shift and move and maneuver and keep placing it. It's how do I say this? So how do I put this so you'll understand? Okay. Alchemy. 80s kids. 90s, possibly. 70s, no, it was 80s. I think it was 80s. I wasn't alive in the 70s. 80s kids. 90s. It was big. All right. I'm trying to, okay, how do we do this? I keep wanting to reach for Tetris, but I'm like, there's something that's more, let's go Bejeweled. Is it Bejeweled or is it Candy Crush? What's the thing nowadays? Anyway, I remember Bejeweled. Let's go Jules. Crystal. Anyway. So you have a screen, right? Which is your your vision. Okay, you have a screen and it's filled with jewels. And you can align those jewels however you want, and poof, they go away. And then every so often you'll have one that's radiating electricity or whatever, and if you put that one in alignment, a huge blow up happens. And your whole life or your whole screen changes visions, and everything kind of falls into place and all the old stuff goes away and you got practically a new screen. Okay? This is the lamest thing I think I've ever done in my life. Okay? So, think of it in that way when you're viewing your reality and a situation comes along where you're like, okay, that's really triggering me. And it's that electric jewel that you're like, and you're just focusing on it because it's electrifying and it's like putting out the vibes and it's catching your vision and you can't look away from it. And you're like, how do I get that fucker out of here? So this is the weirdest excuse. Okay. For an analogy ever. So you're focused on it because it has your focus and you know what's going to happen once you move that into an alignment that's going to make everything. Okay. So what's going to happen is all those things drop off, right? Because they were annoying you and you couldn't move them anyway. And then you get a whole new screen. That's kind of similar to the ascension process where you get that tower moment that just blows everything up. Everything gets obliterated off your screen and a new set of jewels drops down and you level up. I can't believe I'm doing this. Okay. So that's kind of what I'm saying. Okay. It's same with Candy Crush. Whatever your gig was back in the day when you were just, okay. It's the same process, only it's your vision of reality. And so when you go out into the community, you're going to have that electric little thing, whether you like it or not. And I just did this like when I went out this weekend. And it was, I traveled a hot day. Anyway, so I got to a place and some things happened and they wanted this and that and the other thing. And I'm like, I can just take my business otherwise or other places in other areas. I'm good, thanks. And so this particular person followed me out of the store and I was with someone else. And they we went into a couple stores down and we were standing in line and this person was behind us. And so the two people in front of us were being helped. Person with me and I were next in line and the person behind us. So when the person behind the counter asked what we needed, I turned around and I asked the person that was standing behind us what they needed because I knew that person was malevolent and they had weirdness going on. And I'm like, no. They just turn around and, did you need something? Go ahead. You can have before us. That person's eyes got really big and they stumbled all their words after they gained their composure after about 10 awkward seconds. And I just stood there and looked. I just gazed at them like, what do you need? And they made some crazy ass shit up. And then they left. I'm like, we don't need to be fucking You just look them straight in the face and be like, I see you. I don't have anything for you. I know you'd like to parasite and make this into some sort of freakish game that it was never intended to be. Bye. So you can continuously grow and maneuver into that way of being, right? Where you don't attack the person. You don't have to. Okay? They're already in defenseless mode. If they're willing to do what they're willing to do with you, they're already defenseless. If they need to parasite off of you, they're already defenseless. Now take that to the freaking bank, please. If they need to parasite off of you, they're already defenseless. Let me say that again. If they need to parasite off of us, they are already defenseless. They have run through their entire gamut of resources and now need to depend on other people to exist in the world. Now, most of you might be thinking I must be talking about the Patreon person. Nope. Because it didn't start with the person who is at the point of losing all their resources, so they have to siphon off of everybody else. Who taught them how to do that? Where did they get that idea from? What other system can we break down on a real level and attribute that to? So no, I'm not going after the scammers here. They weren't educated. They weren't taught how to do what they need to do with their vital life force energy. And they probably have some really cool gifts to bring to society, but they're not allotted the time and energy to look at it. And it's unfortunate. So, understanding that getting into your body is the first thing that comes to the realization of what's actually happening in your environment. That's why getting into the body is going to be so important. So get in the regimen of getting in your body, seeing things, hearing things, smelling things, and feeling with your heart how things connect to you on a real level. And yes, when you're new to it, it's probably gonna be a little awkward, uncomfortable, and maybe even painful, which you in turn will think, oh, I'm supposed to cry, and then you do, and then you're like, wait, this is actual love, this is joy, and it's just the pain oozing out, like a wound that's got all this pus around it, and it just needs to seep out, and you just need to let it go. You just need to seep that out, and then you can start connecting on a real authentic level with yourself and with everything around you. Your entire environment becomes different because you're now connected in a real, genuine, meaningful way to the very source energy that's already within you, which is inherently nature. So you're connecting to yourself, which connects you to other beings in a more authentic and meaningful way. And that's going to change how we live, how we operate, and how we function on every single level. Because Pluto is going through everything with a fine-tooth comb like a detective and saying, okay, there's this needle in the haystack. What are we going to do about it? We can't roll in the haystack. We can't pick through it. We definitely can't feed it to our animals. What are we going to do with it? We're going to burn it. So we can sift through the now degraded ashes and find that needle much more easily. Or we're going to take a magnet to it and find it. Okay? So this is all about problem solving, and we're going to be much more in our bodies with it. Because that is the ultimate way we solve anything, is when we get into our body space. Because all strife or whatever shows up as a physical symptom. Bye, Lily. Love you, darling. Well, you can't see Sophie. Sophie, babe.